Hey guys, it's your boy Fan Like a Mama. We're in a building, man. We're in a building. So, what I'm trying to do here uh, is that I wanna see if my audio is recording or and this day sound. So yeah, everything is fine. Everything is fine. So let's get started with our market breakdown or focus. So guys, as you can clearly see now, I'm looking at pound dollar. You can clearly see that if you can just check on my crosshair, we have 1.42700 here, which is our psychological level. And if I can just go a bit to the downside, you can see we have 1.42 to 992, which is so close to our psychological level, but it's not really our psychological level. But if I can just maybe put it and make it a bit more 300. So you can clearly see, guys, we have 1.42300 as our psychological level. So you can clearly see that market for the first time here, you can see it rejected, came to test this area, rejected, and now you can see that market is coming again to this area, is rejecting again. And now you can clearly see we came for the third time to test this area here, so it's rejecting this area. You can clearly see we have a bearish engulfing here, engulfing this candlestick. Someone can say, okay, that's a very nice confluence. So we're expecting market to continue pushing to the downside, but now you can clearly see that the market came back to test these areas here, 1.400 or 4,000 or 40,000. I don't know what that number, but all I know is the psychological level. As you can clearly see here. And then what is it that we want to see? We want to see market continuing to push because of it come for the first time, came for the second time to test this key area here, and then you can clearly see now we expect market to continue pushing to the downside. So now let us go down to a daily time frame. So on a daily time frame, guys, becomes even more interesting because of you can clearly see that we have this trend line that has been drawn here. So you can clearly see we have multiple touches on this trend line here. You can see we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 many multiple touches here. So now you can clearly see that when we came back to test this our psychological level here, we did what we printed a bearish engulfing. As you can clearly see, now we are bearish. We engulf about 1 2 candlestick, and then you can clearly see that market came back to test our psychological level, the one that I was telling you about on weekly time frame. We have 1.400 105, but if I can just rectify that, it's 1.400 100, 1.40 100. These numbers, they tend to mess with me. I hated maths even at school, and now it's maths again. So don't mess with me, man. Don't mess with me, man. So you can clearly see now that we have this ascending type pattern here. As you can clearly see, if I can just throw this, if I can just grab and throw this, you can clearly see now that the market is indeed pushing to the upside, but you can clearly see that is not really convincing to say, you know what, we're gonna break this psychological level because of you have momentum to push to the upside. So now you can clearly see that we came to test this, so I might as well just highlight this area here. So you can clearly see we came to test this our psychological level. So let me just rectify it and putting zeros here. So you can clearly see now we came to test these areas quite a few times before we see the market pushing a bit more further to the downside. So now you can clearly see that the market is indeed printed what this bearish engulfing. Once it came to test these areas here, is indeed printed this bearish engulfing. So sorry about that, guys. So you can clearly see now guys, they are performing some witchcraft on me. I just injured myself with my saliva. What is that, man? That is crazy. But let's just continue, guys. So you can clearly see now we are looking for market to continue pushing to the downside. Probably this is gonna be the first key area that we might be looking at, because you can clearly see that this key area has been respected quite a few times. You can clearly see, if I can just make it a zone here, because of remember, you know that key areas, they are not just lines, but they are zones because of market can just turn. So it broke above, came back to test this key area, went upside. You can see market declined all the way to our key area, tested it. Now you can see coming back to try more to gain more strength before we can see it breaking to the downside. So this move is gonna be a bit more confirmed once we see that price has broken below this our key area here, and came back for a retest, then that's when we're gonna be confirming this push to the downside, because of now we can see that in a longer term we're looking for market to continue pushing, probably reaching all this way, but we're just going to be monitoring price to see, because of now we can see we have higher highs here, we have higher highs here, we have higher highs here, higher lows here, we have lower, oh we have, hey guys, this thing tend to mess with me, man. We have highs here, we have lower highs here, we have higher lows here, we're gonna make another lower lows here, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. They tend to the one thing I can tell you guys is that really the concept of is higher highs and lower lows, or lower lows or lower highs, is not really important. That you know that, as long as you know what the price is doing. Okay, we have highs here, we have lower lows here, we have lower highs here, we have lower lows. You don't really have to know it. Like, even for instance, if you can see that we have a bearish engulfing here, you don't really need to know it's a bearish engulfing, as long as you can see the pattern here. Okay, this pattern is a bearish engulfing. You can clearly see even here we have another bearish engulfing, so you can clearly see that the market is indeed preparing itself to continue pushing to the downside. So now let's just dive in a bit more to daytime, to week, to H4 time frame. Let's go down to weekly time, to daily, to H4 time frame. So you can clearly see now on H4 time frame, it's even more clearer. We can just take and put our zones here. So you can have this zone here. As you can clearly see, I took my zone from the candlestick spike to the candlestick close. Here you can clearly see I took it from the candlestick spike to the candlestick close. So someone somewhere around the world would prefer using bodies of a candlestick. Is still fine. There's no problem with how you draw your key areas. So now you can clearly see that we have this push to the downside, and then we formed this a small commitment here. As you can clearly see, we formed this small commitment here. You can clearly see that we've been rejecting from the upside. You can see we have this rejecting quite a few more of them. Then now what is that we're expecting? We're expecting the market to continue pushing to the downside. Probably going to be looking at this minor here, minor support that we might have, that might cause price struggle to break below. We're going to be looking at this minor support here. Let me just remove everything so that we just have this minor support that might cause price to struggle, but we're looking pretty nice for price to continue pushing all the way to the downside, probably coming and testing these areas here, and then we see it more pushing to the downside. So that's it, guys, for me on GBP, USD, or pound dollar. Some people, they like to call this fancy names. So and we in the building, man, you ain't messing with us. So I wanted to do a breakdown as well on AUD USD. So let me just start on weekly time frame. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna remove everything here. I'm just gonna remove everything here so that you can clearly see, guys. Here we have this pattern being formed here. You can see we have three pins formation. We have 3 pins formation. We have 1, 2, we have 3. So you can clearly see that when we go to smaller time frame, the market is indeed forming a head and shoulder pattern. So now you can clearly see that the market might be coming to test this left shoulder here before we can see it shooting all the way to the downside. Not really picture perfect, because of the left shoulder is not really equal to the right shoulder, so it's not picked up perfect, but you can still use this to capitalize on it. And adding to the confluences, you clearly saw that we have a very big bearish engulfing here. You can clearly see we have bearish engulfing with this one rejecting, this one big rejection. You can clearly see we have this other rejection. So price came in to test this areas here. You can clearly see 0.77995. So if I can just rectify that, we have a psychological level there. So you can clearly see that price came to test our psychological level. So we might see this one for Monday. Mondays are always somehow. Sorry about that. Mondays are always somehow. So we might see price coming and tapping into this area before you see that push to the downside on AUD USD. So let us just go down to daily time frame. So on daily time frame, guys, you can clearly see now that we have higher highs here, we have lower lows, we have highs here, we have lower highs, we have lower lows, we have lower highs, we have lower lows, we have lower highs here. So you can clearly see that we might be looking to make another lower lows here. So now you can clearly see, and you can clearly see now that what we have here, we have this key area here being respected by price. You can clearly see, but we still want to see this price closing bearish and engulfing, or you can say it's an evening star, just engulfing this previous candlestick body, and possibly with the wick of the candlestick. Because if we are on daily time frame, we still have like about 12 hours and 50 minutes and 54 seconds. Seconds are going down, so yeah, guys, so on AUD we are indeed looking for it to continue pushing. Remember, even on pound USD, we are still looking for it to continue pushing to the downside. If you can check something that is indeed similar with these pairs, is that the code currency is dollar. So you can clearly see that correlation might work there. So you can clearly see that we are indeed on the right track of the market. So now you can clearly see here, if I can just draw my trend line here, if guys, you can just listen to what I'm saying, and if you can just pay much attention to what I'm saying. I'm only reading price action. I'm not trading based on those key areas and what's or not. I'm only reading price action as to what is price doing now, what is price gonna do. I know, guys, when you start it's gonna be a bit tricky, but remember, we saw that even on bigger time frame, like on weekly time frame, I saw that we have a head and shoulder pattern here. You can see we have a left shoulder here, we have a head, we have a neck. This is a neckline. We have the second shoulder. Market short to the downside came there. I was able to see that on bigger time frame because of once you master the skill, once you practice the skill, it's not by because of maybe I have any superpowers or anything, but I've mastered the skill of price action to understand what is price action doing. As much as I know that the market has broken this trend line here below, but I still need to see how is the market breaking the price action. Does it have momentum, or it just printing what? It's just printing a fake move. Because of I can be able to. There are other ways whereby you can be able to see if the candlestick. Probably you see where my crosshair is. I'm just wanna making an example where my crosshair is. You can see that this is a long candlestick, and here you can clearly see we have a long candlestick where my crosshair is. But if you can just check the other ways which we use as forex tracer to see if this is a real move or it's just a fake move. Remember, there are people who are called impulsive traders, so they just enter. Probably they enter this candlestick, they say, oh wow, then market just try and decline and push to the upside. So we are able to see if this is a real move or is a fake move. So as you can clearly see here, we have this push to the downside, and then you can see now that the market is indeed rejecting our trend line here. You can see it's respecting quite a few times, tried to break above and came back to strike but failed. So we want to see the market continue to push to the downside. But to be honest with you guys, I really don't like the way this candlestick is at now. But we are on H4 time frame, still have about 48 minutes, so you can still see maybe if you can engulf these two candlestick here, if you can engulf the board of this candlestick, wow, this is gonna be a very nice trade entry, because of we know that the next coming candlestick is just gonna be shooting up it to the upside, making the H4 low high. Then it's gonna continue to close this candlestick weak and continue to push to the downside. So that is it, guys, for me today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Don't forget to click the like button, click the share button. There is more content that is coming, that is on fire. Thank you so much, guys. It's your boy Fanlake Mamba signing out.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Tremaine, your FX Chasers mentor, back again for another market breakdown. Now, it's super amazing to have you guys here for the beginning of the week. Obviously, we're getting started, basically setting ourselves up for the week. Now, we're going to have a look at AUD JPY for this week. Let's start on the daily chart. So basically what we can see from a daily perspective, guys, is that long-term structure has been making its move to the upside. Now, just to add, guys, or just to point out that although prices have been making moves to the upside and creating higher highs, what we can see is that price has been, for example, violating previous high structure to the upside and breaking back below structure. Again, violating structure to the upside and then breaking back within structure. So that immediately shows us some characteristics of this market essentially correcting to the upside. So we know that we are creating higher highs here on AUD JPY, especially from a daily perspective, but market structure is correcting to the upside and not impulsing to the upside. So another thing that we can actually have a look at here, maybe just scroll over to the most recent price action. Just give me 1 second. Let's just drag this over to the side. There we go. We'll zoom in a bit over here. So one thing that we can notice, guys, we saw some nice intro of sellers coming into the market. So we basically saw prices violating the structure to the upside. And then what we saw is a nice introduction of sellers from these areas here. We see two nice red impulsive candles to the downside on a daily chart. So that shows us some nice, at least some nice selling interest. Now, what we can also observe from a daily perspective is that we do have these previous highs here that will function as a resistance area. So we have this potential double top structure. Obviously, we have this first peak, market pushed away from this first peak, came back, touch the close of the first peak, and as long as prices do not close above the high of this first peak, this is still a valid double top structure on a daily chart, guys. So let's go down onto the H2. Okay, I was supposed to press 2H, not H2. 2H, there we go. So on the 2-hour chart, guys, what you can see here is that I have drawn a nice 3-touch structure. So we have our first touch over here at this green candle that is not related to this move to the downside. So obviously we know that something happened at that area, some reaccumulation, some something, guys. We see a green candle, we know price stalled in this area before continuing to the downside. So we know that this area was used to add additional shorts for the continuation of structure to the downside. So we have that first touch over there. Obviously, we did accommodate for most recent price action by including this here as our second touch. So guys, we do see that we do have a nice 3-touch structure, first touch, second touch, and we're gonna allow this market at least the chance to come and give us this third touch before we actually look for some downside continuation here on AUD JPY. So at this third touch, guys, this is going to be an area where the market will give us that the appropriate probabilities that we are looking for to stack on our side to be able to take a nice position with a beautiful risk to reward ratio. And guys, if the market doesn't actually push to the upside and give us this third touch, then we know that there is enough supply in the market and that sellers are willing to send prices lower. So what happens if prices just push lower? Then we're going to be looking for a nice break of structure, a retest for the continuation of lower prices to the downside, guys. So regardless of what really happens here on AUD JPY, guys, we're going to be sell bias considering the fact that on the daily chart, on our higher time frames, we are overextended to the upside. There is the potential to create a double top structure on the daily. We are at resistance. Remember, if we wanted to buy from these areas, the next resistance area that we would run into are these highs up there. So obviously there isn't enough risk to reward ratio to be looking for a buying opportunity unless maybe we are using those very small time frames like the 15-minute, like maybe even the H1. Other than that, guys, we do see beautiful risk to reward ratios to the downside, guys. If we do manage to find some sort of a risk entry at the top there, we'll obviously target at least in the 90% rule of this structure over here. And then stops will obviously be refined according to the type of entry that we do get. And already with a 33 pip stop, just hypothetical situation with a 33 pip stop, we have the opportunity to make a risk to reward ratio, or to have a trade running with a risk to reward ratio of 7%. So 1% to get 7%, guys. That looks absolutely amazing to me. I doubt you would get a risk to reward ratio this beautiful looking for buys at resistance areas, especially on those higher time frames, guys. So we're going to be looking for shorting opportunities on AUD JPY, guys. whether we get the risk entry or the break and the retest. Shorting opportunities on AUD JPY, guys. Hope you enjoyed this quick analysis and quick breakdown of AUD JPY, and I hope you guys are prepared for the week and that you guys actually really catch this position when this position does actually present itself. Now, this is it from me, guys. Hope to see you guys in the next market breakdown. Enjoy the rest of your guys' trading week. Thank you so much, guys, for actually coming to the end of this video. We hope that you enjoyed this breakdown, guys. Now, these types of breakdowns are breakdowns that we do every single day at 11 a.m. with the 3.0 course members during our morning live sessions. Now, what else can we find in the 3.0, guys?
Bro,
what else can we find?
Don't mess with me, man. On the 3.0, man, we get to trade live with the students, man. It's super amazing. And on top of that, you get free signals, man, with the mentorship that goes like in handy just for what, man? $97 a month? Man, come on, man. You ain't messing with me, man. Get that thing, man. Man, click the like button, the subscribe button, share with your friends, Forex Chasers family, live you while you're there at home. Don't forget, guys, 3.0 Forex Chasers. Sharp.